limit, man. Okay, calm down.
What has the impact been of the war in Ukraine? What has been the impact on Bolivia and Latin America?
For a lot of Latin American countries, it's been incredibly negative, but a lot less so for Bolivia because Bolivia has a state-owned, state-built fertilizer factory in the town of Bula Bula. It was built by Evo Morales' government, and it was actually closed down by Añez's government and then reopened by Luis Arce. And it's one of the largest fertilizer plants in the Americas. And that during this global fertilizer shortage, Bolivia has massively benefited from the huge rise in price in fertilizers. It also means that Bolivian producers, farmers, can still access fertilizer without problems, and the Bolivian government sells it to them at a cheaper price than they sell internationally, which just means that Bolivia's food production has managed to keep up, has not faced the food insecurity that, for example, Brazil has faced. We're going to Brazil. Brazil had the same. Under Lula's government, they had, with this gas company Petrobras, they had their own fertilizer factory, and that was closed after the coup against Dilma. And now Brazil has to import their fertilizer, and that's a big factor in their inflation that they're facing right now, and the increase in food insecurity that they're facing right now. They're having to buy now fertilizer off of Bolivia. In Peru as well, there was strikes by farmers, campesino unions due to the fertilizer shortage in Peru, and Bolivia was able to step in and basically calm that down by supplying Peru with fertilizer. So yeah, but that's the reason. That's a big reason, I think, for why Bolivia has managed to have almost no increase in inflation during this period of the Ukraine war. But in other countries, it's a completely other story. Countries like Ecuador, for example, that have these problems with the fertilizer, but also Ecuador is one of the largest exporters in the world of bananas. One of their biggest markets was Russia. And now a huge section of their economy for a long time was just completely paralyzed because they couldn't get their produce to Russia due to the sanctions. It's having a devastating impact on a lot of Latin American countries. But Bolivia is the most resilient precisely because of the state-led model of having, not import, as they call it, the import substitution, industrialization. Building as much as possible within the country, not depending on imports, and that's why Bolivia has managed to stay strong despite the war in Ukraine.